command over language has nothing to do with your vocabulary. It has only to do with the clarity of thought. Okay? Clarity of thought brings some hierarchy in your points. When you write essays, you achieve that clarity of thought for UPSC to assess the candidates. I told you, right? Essays are not GS questions at all. There used to be a time when essays could have been solved with the basic pestle approach.
जैसा कि ड्युअलिटी वर्ड से समझ में आ रहा है कि ये दो प्रोस्पेक्टिव की बात हो रही है और दोनों ही जरूरी है। एज अ सोसाइटी में रहने के लिए हमें दोनों चीज की जरूरत है, जस्टिस की भी और चैरिटी की भी।
You'll figure that there's a level 3 question which is on the duality of emotions and reason, and you will remember a level 1 question like this and you will use this as a statement. ठीक है? Once जिस भी दिन तुम लोग ये करने लग जाओगे ना, उस दिन तुम 150 के ऊपर हो. Everyone, good evening. We'll start without any delay. I would request all of you to please switch on your videos. It's an internal session, and this is part of the UAP course, but it's given right now to the foundation students as well as Smash Mains 2025 and of course UAP 2025 students. Uh, this is the first of the many centralized sessions that we will take in Civils Daily. I, along with Samriddhi ma'am, we take the Smash essay course for the 2024 kids who are appearing for the mains this year. And I thought it's much, much better if we start on early. So just a quick chat पे लिख दो if I'm audible or not, and just tell me what course are you right now attending at CD? Mostly UAP. Okay. Are there any foundation students? Great. So mostly UAP then. Awesome. So what we'll do is, this is the 101 session. Okay. The first session for the essay, which we're holding centrally. Okay. Now, essays, I don't know if you guys have noticed over the last few years, have turned to be more reflective than GS type in nature. So there are a lot of things you might know because I'm sure you guys also do recce's on YouTube. But what I'll do in this session is that I'll tell you how essay writing is different from the GS paper writing, which I'm sure you guys are practicing. Second, what are the kind of things that an essay paper demands, because of which the score in essay fluctuate from anywhere between 50 to 160. This is perhaps the only paper among your mains paper where you can, go as low as 50 and as high as 150 plus 160. Okay. In most other papers, we seem to have cracked the code, and it's more now about your practice and your content and your assimilation and execution. Finally, I'll also show you the origins of the essay. So the expectation from UPSC, the origin from a snippet of a report of 1989, from where, essay started becoming a major theme for UPSC to assess the candidates. And then what we'll do is, we'll talk about two most important pillars of the reflective and philosophical essays. ठीक है? कहीं भी कुछ भी question हो ना, please drop it on the chat. I'll pick them as we go. Once we're done with that, once we tell you the core themes, the core fundas of reflective essays, then we'll reanalyze the essays of previous year questions, just to give you a perspective. Because nothing helps better than a quick example after every theory. Once we're done with that, I'll take you through one question and Animesh Pradhan ka attempt on that question. Okay. When I'm taking you through that question and the attempt, I'll tell you the important key factors of any essay: introduction, definition, body paragraph, conclusion, and whatnot. Okay. Also, you will get to know the types of introduction or the types of nuances that you can actually include and make your essay better. I'll also then take you to 7 key tenets, as it were, that we follow in CD, and we tell our students via the sessions on essay, which you guys need to follow to make sure that you understand the structure. And after this understanding, after understanding in such sessions, what you're left with is nothing but execution. So then you can keep giving more and more mocks, keep practicing, get those paper checked, talk to your mentors, talk to us, and make sure that you are at least on the 130 plus wala bandwidth. Because the whole idea of UAP and super intensive mains preparation is that you make your rank interview proof. Okay. Just show of hands. Videos on, right, everyone? Okay, cool. Just to set the stage of the room, do this simple exercise. Punctuate this line right on the chart. This line is actually picked up from a classroom where an English professor gave the students to punctuate this line to try to understand the mood of the room. I'm going to open my chat window, message to everyone, punctuate the line. I mean, I actually want you to punctuate them. You know punctuations? Okay, Ritik. Okay, yes, this is what I want. Great, awesome. Is there any other way you can punctuate the sentence? Punctuate the sentence. Do not define the line to me. Do not tell me what it's right or wrong. Punctuate it. Great. You guys are getting it. The one Turvosh Chakrabarti. That's good. Great. So you guys get it, right? Perspective is everything. I mean, from here onwards, whatever we are going to discuss in the essay classes and maybe even the ethics classes, it's all going to aim to build a perspective for you. You understand, right? What's at play here? The way you punctuate the sentence tells that the way you see your reality. And what's going to happen in these essay sessions, starting from this one, is that we're going to build deeper understanding into how we perceive things around us. Because reflective essays, philosophical essays are all about that. It's about how you understand the world, how many perspectives can you put out there and see the world, and then what can you do to make it better. That's slightly abstract, but that's exactly what UPSC wants you in these essay paper. Okay. Yeah, I mean, some people are defining and giving their opinions. All I wanted to ask in this was punctuate. Now that's good. Move to the next thing. I told you, right? Essays are not GS questions at all. There used to be a time when essays could have been solved with the basic pestle approach, or you could, depending upon your optional and your GS, give a lot of fact and gyan in your essay paper and, basically write a lot about them. In fact, if you look at the last 25 years of paper, you will see that some of the themes are like that. Youth is the future of the country. Sports and education should go hand in hand. All these basic stuff, which you would find a lot of relevance established in the economic survey and the big documents which government keep on releasing, but that's not the case anymore. And I hope you guys know that by interfacing with the Samachar Manthan questions or even having a chat with others. Now I'll take two examples and be very focused on this. Okay, two examples. You don't need to know the answer to the question. It's a mains question, but I'm proving a point that GS mains is more or less done, guys. You're part of UAP. You will be taken through the basic funda and structure, the theme and demand of answering a mains question. And after a little bit of time, you'll realize it's all math now. Introduction में 25 words हैं, conclusion में 25 से 30 words हैं. In a 250 word answer, rest of it is body. A body has to be divided into different chunks and subheadings. That's it. And then your content will give you those masala. Once you're mature with that, then the X Factor notes will come. Smash means is something which helps you develop that. This year we had Animesh to work on the notes with us, alongside us, and we perfected that. So GS mains is a done deal. And here's an example. Now, this is a question, and this could have been any other question. I know that you guys are just preparing for 2025, so your maturity might not be at that level to actually, nail this one. But just understand, the introduction and the second paragraph is generic. It's basically reframing the same question and extending a definition with more words, right? So economy of word has gone for a toss. ठीक है, इतना समझ में आता है, right? GS questions are all about hitting the thing right at the onset. It's no more about beating around the bush. Okay. Then the body paragraph doesn't have any subheadings. When you do not have a subheading, that basically says or conveys to me as an evaluator that there is no clarity of thought. There is no clarity of thought. Therefore, the solutions and the objections that you would be putting on your GS answer will not have any hierarchy of priorities, right? The moment you have a clarity of thought, your priorities are set. कि बहुत सबसे important factor vulnerable schemes में ये, उसके बाद ये, उसके बाद ये, उसके बाद ये, or something around that. When there is not, you will write stuff, but you will not be hitting any nail. ठीक है, तो जो लिखा भी है ना, वो ठीक लिखा है, but it's so generic. Limited resources are directed towards particular section of society. Could have just been limited resources. However, the only good thing in this essay is that he has put in themes of constitution. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के कुछ कुछ आर्टिकल हैं, इन HDI और कुछ कुछ गवर्नमेंट प्रोग्राम्स का जिक्र किया गया. Apart from that, this is exactly how a beginner's answer look like. And if you're not evolving yourself as you progress to UAP or your UPSC prep, you'll be writing this answer even till the fag end of post prelims. This is a GS question written by a beginner, and it's fine. If you're writing this, it's completely fine. Keep on writing your Samachar Manthan and keep getting the feedbacks. This is the level that you need to achieve in GS. You understood this, right? It's mathematical precision. 257 words total, intro 24, conclusion 23, rest of that is the body. Body is divided in 7 issues and then 5 potential solutions. The issues and the solutions almost map 1-to-1. There's enough references of data. This is it. The only thing lacking here would be if you would put the constitutional provision right up top on the introduction. That, hey, these are the articles which, kind of are there to make sure that these things don't happen, address these issues, and that's it. That's it. Now work backwards. For you to nail your GS answers, you need to have these level of notes, this level of clarity eventually, maybe a diagram, but that's it. There is no flowery language. There is no reflection. Um, these are actually points. You just need to be precise with respect to issues and solution. That's it. Now, this is the GS answer. Essays are a completely different ballgame. This is what we get these days in terms of your essay ka, what is UPSC expecting of you. Very simple stuff, right? We went behind, we went back in the time and we realized that in 1989, the commission which kind of went bullish on essays. I mean, read this paragraph. This is a snippet from that. There are only four things that they're asking: comprehension, originality of thought, clarity of expression, integrated thinking with assimilation of idea. Comprehension is still needed in the GS paper. Clarity of expression is needed in the body paragraph, that you have some hierarchies and you put them in priority wise and you have categories. Originality more or less is same in GS paper. You're not going to cook up new facts. You don't have access to the reports which are not known to anyone else. Integrated thinking with assimilation of idea, इसका इतना chance ही नहीं है वहाँ पे. It's 250 words. Give the pointers. Finish it. ठीक है? Pick these 4 keywords. Bring them back into your current day UPSC preparation. This is what we need. They'll be expected to keep closely to the subject of the essay and arrange their ideas in orderly fashion and to write concisely. Credit will be given for effective and exact expression. The 4 things that are said in these 2 lines are basically just a mashup of the 4 things which that commission, Kothari Commission ki report hai wo, that commission basically wants from the UPSC aspirants. Now this is me setting the stage of essay paper. Like I said, you can score anywhere between 50 to 150 plus 160. People have done that. I'm sure all the topper copies you have access to, you can see the level at which people have gone. Since more and more of essays in UPSC are now essentially reflective, what we've done is we've dig deep in time and we've kind of tried to understand, okay, what kind of questions were asked back then when GS still had a huge part to play. I'm not going to ask you to attempt any of them right now. We'll brainstorm slightly later in this webinar, but not right now. But take now. Because what we need to do, what we do at CD and what you need to do as a student with us is to understand chal kya raha hai. What are the kind of themes which are coming in philosophy and reflection? We have to be able to go to the first principles, the absolute first principles, because once we get there, then you know what, we'll be able to do 2 things. One, we'll be able to have clear idea of कि crack करने का है तो क्या hack बना सकते हैं. I mean, there's no substitute for reading, there's no substitute for writing, but at least you'll have a clarity of thought. Second, you'll be able to find similarities in the questions which are coming and recurring. These are the latest ones where the trend has intensified. Now more than 80% of the questions in the essay paper are reflective, are philosophical. Take a moment to read through this. This is 2023. These questions came last year. Even the rankers, top 100 rankers, were scoring average 110. Animesh happened to score somewhere around 136 or 133. And Saurabh Sharma, another ranker of ours, he scored again 135 plus. But दिख रहा है ना, इसमें कुछ भी GS नहीं है. Right? It's making sense, right? There's nothing GS about him. I mean, nothing. You might say that, okay, in the girls' question, I can maybe give some facts from a report, etc., but maybe. You might say question number 8 is slightly on the GS, education is what remains, but no, it's not. Everything else is purely reflective. 2022, you can make some vague linkages to GS, but overall, you need to have a different mindset if you have to crack essay. And if it's seeming difficult, it's fine. It is difficult. So my job here is not to make life easy for you. My job here is to actually tell you what things are and what will it take to actually crack them. I would request everyone to put their videos on if you can. Cool. So here we are. Now, there are 2 things that we need to understand in the reflective essays. Okay. And then we'll be able to tie up things and relook at these same questions in a completely different manner. And that is when, see, my idea for this session is not just to give you a lot of, hey, how will I do it, but also to give you some sense of commonality, some sense of, oh, this is where it's going and this is how I get it. Okay. Now, there are two core of reflective essays. Reflections of any kind in life, UPSC or aside, are only going to challenge you for two things. One is dualities of life, which are opposite forces. They're seemingly coexisting. You cannot alienate one from another. You have to find that golden mean because that's how the life is. And you would see these themes recurring in freedom, responsibility, strength and vulnerability, reason versus emotion in your life की themes हैं. ठीक है, lightness versus dark, etc etc. Dualities of life. ये समझ में आ रहा है? Life की dualities. Everyone, just give a yes, यार. I can't unmute everyone, so but it would be good to know that I'm making sense to most of you guys. And if someone has, if this is not making sense at any point of time, just type on the chat. I might not take it in the flow of the session, but I'll take it up later. Dualities of life. Uh, can anyone like write also? What do you understand? Okay, we'll take dualities of life is just basically क्या कहते हैं हिंदी में द्वंद्व कहते हैं, right? It's like two opposite forces which are calling you, dualities of life, which are coexisting together. I'll give you the examples, but just understand the principles first. Dualities. Second are the paradoxes. Paradoxes are logically self-contradictory statements that run contrary to your expectations. I've taken three examples from the famous novels that we know, and I hope paradoxes सबको समझ में आ गए होंगे. Dilemma of choosing among the two are dualities. Paradoxes are like, there's a famous scientist who said that paradoxes are not problems. Problems can be solved. Paradoxes are something where you stay put with it. And you stay put with it and you keep thinking about it and you get another dimension, two-way. Okay. Paradoxes ka you have to make sense. You have to either accept or reject them. If you've accepted them, you'll realize that there is some other journey that you take once you accept the paradoxes. The most important or the most intriguing paradox, one which comes from our Indian mythology, is this. There's this statement, it's a Shanti mantra from one of the Upanishad. Has anyone read this chant before? This is a mantra, Purnamidav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate, which essentially says, in the modern translation, it's infinite, that is infinite, this is infinite. Finite has come from infinite, still it remains infinite. It's kind of a mathematical paradox. Infinity minus infinity is still infinity. That is also infinity, this is infinity. And if you guys, anyone who knows or loves to go into philosophy, they'll understand the core of it, like the theoretical fund of this. Now, when we understand that paradoxes and dualities are the two core, I mean, the two priorities, the technical priorities of any reflective essay, once with this understanding, let's relook at the essay questions of the last 2 years. Up, let's go through the questions. The thinking is like a game. It does not begin unless there is an opposite team. Do we understand the duality here? Paradoxes, not all who wander are lost. And paradoxes can be degrees होते हैं. Some are simple paradoxes, some are slightly more difficult, etc. etc. Education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in the school. It's a paradox. I mean, at the heart of it is a paradox. Separate issue, हम इसको extend or elaborate कैसे करेंगे, but these are paradoxes. Just because you have a choice, it doesn't mean any of them has to be right. So what then? Paradox. Inspiration for creativity springs from the effort to look for the magical in the mundane. How can something that you call mundane have anything magical? I mean, that means that you need to relook it again. Okay, I won't be able to look at the questions right now, but I'll read through all of them. Understand the dualities of the system. Question 7, 2023. A society that has more justice is a society that needs less charity. समझ में आ रहा है duality? You cannot do one with another, but you have to strike a right balance. Put a point of view. At this point of time, I take up questions from you guys. We've reached almost like 1/3 of this webinar. If you guys have any questions, anyone wants to go up audio pay, I can take them on. Dualities are something which explain the complexity of life, how opposite forces can coexist and contribute. Someone asked that, how can question 7 be a duality? Can someone explain? Okay, put your hands up and I'll unmute you. Can you people explain how question 7 is a duality? And there are no wrong answers, right? It's an internal session, so just go up. The more you engage here, the better it would be. Come on, guys. No one? Can anyone? Okay, Himanshu. Unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, in question number 7, it is saying two things, justice and for the charity. So, it wants to say कि if there is a justice, then society needs less charity, and if it is not a justice, then we need more charity. So somehow these two things are dualities, the which can't exist together at say, मतलब, if it is not in a balanced form.
Okay, correct. अभी okay, just keep on airing your views. ठीक है, अभी मैं किसी को बहुत ही critically analyze नहीं कर रहा हूँ, but it's good that you guys open up. So इसमें से किसी भी सवाल पे start speaking. Anyone else has to talk about question 7? Isha. Isha, put your hands up. Siddharth, can you unmute Isha? Okay, let me unmute then. Dr. Suyash, go now.
Sir, if it is talking about justice, then it means कि equality है वहाँ, मतलब society में everything is getting equal opportunity. तो वहाँ फिर charity या फिर किसी प्रकार की donation की उतनी expectation नहीं रहेगी, तो it implies that.
Okay, fair enough. I think, you know what, most of us will be able to understand the implication of most of these questions. Okay, उसमें कोई ज़्यादा problem नहीं होनी चाहिए.
हेलो
Yeah,
तेज,
yeah, who is this?
ईशा।
Hi, Isha, बताओ.
यस, जैसा कि ड्युअलिटी वर्ड से समझ में आ रहा है कि ये दो प्रोस्पेक्टिव की बात हो रही है और दोनों ही जरूरी है। तो यहाँ पे अगर हम दो टर्म लेना चाहें तो एक हो गया जस्टिस और एक हो गया चैरिटी। तो एज अ सोसाइटी में रहने के लिए हमें दोनों चीज की जरूरत है, जस्टिस की भी और चैरिटी की भी। लेकिन जरूरत ये है कि यहाँ पे चीजों को बैलेंस कैसे किया जाए। अगर हमें जस्टिस चाहिए, अगर बहुत ज्यादा जस्टिस है तो वहां पे हमको चैरिटी की जरूरत कम पड़ेगी। और अगर हम चैरिटी में मतलब बिना जस्टिस के सिर्फ चैरिटी ही शो कर रहे हैं तो वहां पे जस्टिस का लेवल डिमिनिश होता जाएगा। तो यहाँ पे है कि जस्टिस और चैरिटी दोनों में बैलेंस करना है।
Fair point. I think the question itself says that, you know, more, less. So it's not saying एक हटा तो दूसरा रहेगा. Duality is like that state where you have to maintain some kind of a balance. And what we're discussing right now, you know, here is like basic brainstorming for the introduction, nothing more. For actually be able to attempt the essay, you have to go much, much more deeper and in some structured way. Okay, we'll get to there fast, but the first session is only about giving you some, what do they say, some sense of what the essays are all about. Anyone else wants to put a different point here? अगर कोई अलग point है तो बताओ. Okay, Almas Fatima.
गुड इवनिंग सर।
Good evening.
सर, 7th क्वेश्चन को क्या हम ऐसे इंटरप्रेट कर सकते हैं, जैसे हमने फंडामेंटल राइट्स का आर्टिकल 14 है दैट द अलाइक शुड बी ट्रीटेड अलाइक, तो वैसे हो सकता है क्या सर कि अगर हम सब लोगों को लाइक इक्वली ट्रीट करना चाहते हैं देन एनी हाव, बस यही था सर कि मतलब आई गेस ये वैसे है कि लाइक
Okay,
शुड बी
got it.
ट्रीटेड अलाइक।
Okay, does anyone have a thing to say on this? Justice, everyone should be treated like. किसको करना है, किसको अनम्यूट करूँ मैं? Put on the chat, बहुत नाम खुल गए, हाथ खुल गए. Who wants to go on this point? And please put your videos on if you're unmuting. अगर videos off हैं, I won't be giving a unmute thing.
Good evening, sir. My webcam is actually spoiled, so I won't be able to switch it on.
Okay, exception. Go ahead.
So when equity reigns in society, there wouldn't be a necessity for charity because everyone have equal playing ground, and that puts everyone on an equal playing space. So when everyone can get equal opportunities, all of them are balanced equally in society. So there won't be a necessity or a spawn for charity.
Okay, okay. Someone asks, please explain this. Question 7 looks like a positive statement, then why do we need to negate it and maintain a balance? A society that has more justice is a society that needs less charity. Yes, it's a positive statement. Either you agree with this or you disagree with this. Okay. If you agree with this, which 90% of you are going to agree with this, then you're going to essentially define a lot of things. and you will not negate it, but you will basically talk about the what happens when a balance is lopsided. Okay, that's it. If you negate this statement, a society that has more justice, society that has less charity, then you need to have really damn good arguments. If those arguments stand the test of logic, then you'll get superlative marks. But chances are कि बहुत लोग नहीं कर पाएंगे. ठीक है, I'll stop on this question 7, but great to see you guys brainstorming on this. Can we talk on question number 6? That's the most difficult question of that year. And just brainstorm. This thing is important because it kind of will help you develop some perspective. And it will give you a sense of how others are thinking. See, it's a competition exam. We're not in a PhD class, and we're not in a self-paced learning program. We're here to see how we think and how others are thinking who are going to write the exams along with us. Question number 6. Mathematics is the music of reason. What do you think? Put your hands up, people who want to go on this, and be short. Amit, Ashwini, I'll come to you next. Amit, if you can have your video on, we'll go with you.
Yes, sir. Sir, in this question, in the question number 7, I want to say that, sir, if we
Question
add the
6.
philosophy,
You're talking about question 6.
sir,
And-
if we, sir, can I talk question number 7? Something add I want to.
आप लिख दो chat पे, ठीक है? You're on question 6 अभी. Question 6, Ashwini, go now. Unmute yourself.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
So actually, music is pleasant to hear when all the musical instruments go in harmony with each other, and there is some synchronization. So in the same way, like there is also in mathematics, there are also multiple branches, multiple fields. So it actually the synchronization of different fields helps in making our thoughts sharper about a particular field. That's I feel.
Great. That's good. That's good. Basically, if you were to attempt this question, you will convince people, but that what appears as chaos or as free actually has a lot of order inbuilt in.
Yes. So actually, just like trigonometry helps in defining geometry, and calculus sometimes helps in different areas. So that's why.
Yeah, but like, if you want, if you can go deep into this question, what is it saying? How would you define this statement? In the sense, not a technical definition, but what did you get out of it in plain, simple words? Mathematics is the music of reason. So reason is supposed to be cold facts, cold objective decision making, right?
Yes.
Reason by itself, logic.
So
Logic का music कैसे है math?
so like logic का music ऐसे like multiple mathematicians have had debates about multiple concepts like complex number. The Euler and other mathematicians have debates. So it was through the interpassing of the thoughts that they were able to recite to a common thought.
Are
And
you
that,
calling that discussion a music?
yes, to me that is perfectly a music, like it
Okay,
is
cool.
the best way.
Cool. Got it. Welcome to that. Who wants to go next? Dr. Suyash, do you have something on this? I'll come to Dheeraj next.
Hello, sir. Mathematics is about expression of the reason which we have for something. For example, if we have to plan something, plan any type of work, it requires reason. And if we can relate it with mathematics, then it requires the statistics. So that or the data for planning. So we can correlate with that also. That
No.
mathematics is
Okay.
important.
No, we are not going to right. Dheeraj,
Hello.
hi. Can you put your video on?
Yes, I can try.
Yep. Great.
Yeah. Hi, good evening, sir. I understand with the statement like mathematics is the music of reason. So I understand that in case of any empirical data or be it any scientific study, we always take the support of the mathematics theory, or not the mathematical theories, but the mathematical foundations to prove our studies right. Be it the empirical data or the
if we are equating the instance of past with the present and having the predictions for the future, then we take this a part of maths.
Okay. Okay. Tarun, do you want to go on this?
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah. And I'm also reading the chat. हाँ बोलो.
Actually, with this statement, I can understand that if we prove something with mathematics, then there is no denying it. It is absolute reasoning, and in this sense, it can be said that it's like a music, because good music, no one can deny good music. Like
No, it's not. No, it's not.
something
Okay.
with
No,
mathematics.
it's not. No, it's not. We're going wrong. Okay, and I hope that's okay for me to cut you guys because we do not have much time. So it's okay if I can give quick feedbacks or not. Because सबसे essential component ऐसे attempt करने का है कि आप definition समझ गए हो, फंडा समझ गए हो. ठीक है? And at this point of time, at this month, it's okay to be completely lost. This is one of the toughest questions of that year, of last year. Okay, one of the chat answers is right. Music has patterns, and similarly, mathematics is based on reason patterns. That's essentially what it is. Okay. Reason के जो patterns होते हैं ना, concurring patterns, you can play them again and again. Mathematics kind of gives you those patterns to interpret reality. Okay. If you are there engineers in the house or scientists? Anyone with BSc degree, MSc, whatever? Cool, right? So you'll understand if you would, let's say, hear any mathematical Nobel laureate or anyone who's won like कौन सा होता है इंडिया का award जो Infosys देता है, Bhatnagar award, I think, forgetting the exact name. They'll understand how they're able to find patterns. It's patterns, recurring patterns, which when they interpose over one another, they find predictable notes of reality. Boss, whoever is mucking around with the screen with their pens and highlights, Siddharth, feel free to just eject them out of this. Okay? All of what you're saying are right. Math teaches you to think by first principles. Math, music has various rhythms. Math has various methods. Yes. But in the essay paper, Indrani Tripathi, unmuted. Batao. Unmute kar lo.
Hi guys, I'm sorry, I'm from my sister's account, I guess. Sir, I was wondering in this, if we show whatever we've discussed right now, that mathematics is the music of reason, it's the cogency of all the rationality which makes mathematics appear like music, appears very appealing. However, can we take this, because the main two keywords, music has an element of subjectivity to it. However, mathematics and reason are essentially two objective phenomena. So can we also draw chart out the difference between these terms, that this statement might not exactly
Right,
be entirely
right. You can.
Okay.
And when you develop this question further in the body paragraph, you can actually highlight it may appear so that music has subjectivity and so.
But this should this be the essence of it, or should I just mention it in part?
Mention that in part. By the way, I don't remember quite exactly, but this statement is picked up from a paper by a Russian mathematician when I looked it up. What you can actually say in that line is that, the way we achieve mathematical proofs and patterns, the way, people arrive, different mathematicians arrive at that. They look at the same reality and they give you different mathematical formulas to arrive at that. They have their own way of putting. मतलब ये भी देखोगे आप, है ना? So when you go that, तब तुम बोलोगे subjectivity is then वो symbolic और ये सब representation होता है. ठीक है? Music भी जो लोग actually में तो connoisseurs होते हैं, they read the notes and then they're able to figure the music, right? They don't really listen to it.
Yeah.
I mean, if there are people out here who've gone through the whole grind, this is what it happens. Okay, now a lot of stuff is coming on chats, and let me just give 5 minutes to it. And a lot of beautiful and well-structured text, actually. This is beyond duality, and it's towards paradox, by the way. I don't know if I've tagged it, but it's a paradox. Okay? Music and paradoxes are appearances of something which contradicts apparently. But if you go deep, it's there. Right? Advait philosophy of Shankaracharya appears paradoxical at the surface. You keep going deeper and you'll figure out more and more. But let me just read the chats. So Tarun, Alluri, synchronization of various formulas and concepts in maths is aid in solving particular problems, similar to a sense of how beautiful sounds are being produced through. Okay, a lot of the stuff that you guys are actually writing could be part of your body paragraphs. So just make a note. You can refine them further. But as we go through the next set of slides, we'll talk more about the introductions first. Okay. This session is a 101. I hope what the aim of this session is to give you a sense of boss essays are a completely different ballgame. You don't have to wait for your prelims to end to start preparation of the essay. You do not even have to wait for your GS syllabus to get completed to attempt an essay. Okay, start right now. This is what we are doing. That's the reason why, as I'm taking the Smash classes for the 2024 kids, it's much better to prepare you in advance because that's what's going to help. Ye sare fund and I'll take you to the copy of Animesh. It's very difficult to develop them over time in 2 months. Sahil, people who are not able to understand duality and paradoxes, we'll try again later. Soumya says mathematics intertwines with logical thought and beauty, just as music follows set of rules and patterns to create harmony. Correct. That's correct. Proper using it done will require to lead required output. Fourier series helps in giving different filters. And yeah. And now, I'm just taking a segue. Now, if you can get to the point where you're using how music giving rise to a theorem or a set of principles when applied as a technology in a product, which is either musical instrument or art, you can take slightly more liberal interpretation of music. You can actually say how they coincide, how, they come together. And two things can only come together if they have common elements. So Vivek, that's a good point. Composing music in Solveig, creativity. Yeah, Shankari, Alvin, that's a good point. The thing that I'm happy about is that you guys can think and you guys can think diverse. Some of the ideas might be far-fetched. Aditya SJ, mathematics has become the reason for the current world we live in. It turns to music as we link it to many different. Yeah, but you need to explain more. This otherwise is open to interpretation. Shakuntala Devi's quote, without mathematics, there is nothing you can do. Everything around you is mathematics. Don't take single-handed quotes. Always go for comparative duels here. Okay, if you want to put a prominence of something, tab ye karna. No, we can't put zero ka funda here. Great, awesome. So you guys are there. Okay. I mean, and which is one of the things that, essays look like, they can be conquered easily. So there's I'll come to that model also. कि शुरू में लगता है कि abstract statement पे we can think through it. Now the problem, the whole game out here is that you have to basically write an essay of 1200 to 1500 words on these statements. So not only do you have to decipher them correctly, you also have to come up with a 5-star introduction, a correct definition of what the statement is, then have some arguments which further your cause and have a conclusion. And the best conclusions are those where you can call back on the introduction that you just gave. Okay. To master that will require almost everything that you have. Okay. Most of you guys are there in terms of understanding. Is there any other question from this sheet that you want to pick up just for brainstorming? This was good. Let's pick up a difficult one. 2022 question 1 is difficult and 2023 question 4 is also slightly on the edge. Which one do we pick up? Two options you have. Question 1 of 2022, question 4 of 2023. Come on, guys. And because there is no poll technology on Zoom, I'll just go with the recency effect. If you can bombard with one question, let's pick up question 4. Okay. Inspiration for creativity springs from the effort to look for the magical in the mundane. Hands up for people who want to speak on this. और वीडियो पे हो तो हाथ खड़े कर दो. जो वीडियो पे नहीं है मैं I don't think मैं लूंगा भी नहीं. People who've not spoken as yet. Does anyone want to go in? Himanshu Mishra. Okay. Switch on the video and unmute yourself. Himanshu.
Yes, sir. Actually, the light is cutted, sir. So
okay. Be very quick and make your point.
Sir, actually, I have raised hand for the music, sir. Mathematical is the music, for example. So it is from
we have gone past that, Himanshu. Let me go for people who are attempting question 4 abhi. Okay, we'll come back to you. Okay, guys. Chat pe likh do who has to go and I'll find you on the Zoom. And then I'll unmute you. Ashwani. Siddharth, can you unmute Ashwani and then unmute Amulya? And then Smriti.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, so am I audible?
Yeah.
So how I see this statement is like So to make something magical out of a mundane, you have to look it with a different perspective. So for that you have to have that philosophical acumen for it. Just like the as we see, the desert is full of sand. So there was a philosophical acumen of the scientist who saw the uh, magical properties of the semiconductor which was present inside it. So that's a point
In desert?
In desert, there is a hoard of sand. So it looks like a mundane thing.
Yeah.
Do you agree or not?
Yeah. Then?
So then there was some scientist who discovered silicon, which has a magical property and which is found in hoard inside the desert.
Okay, interesting. Okay,
So-
let's do this, everyone. Whenever you get to be unmuted. Thanks, Ashwini. That's a good point. Whenever you get to be unmuted, give me a specific example where this makes sense. Generic मत बोलना, हम philosophers नहीं हैं. Let's just have good examples जो सुनने में मजा आए. Okay, unmute अमूल्य या कौन है unmute हुआ है अभी?
Yes. Hope I'm audible.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think in this statement the word magical. Generally, when we speak about the word magic, we believe that it is something impossible, is not something reality, just a trick of a hand. So similarly, when someone tries to do something innovative or creative,
Amulya, give me an example. Don't define this.
the
Example though.
example will be like when I don't remember the name, but in Japan, one person was trying to create the white LED, but everyone believed that creating the white LED was certainly impossible. But he kept on pushing his limits, and because of his innovation, the white LED was created, and now we can have the
How did he
RGB.
look for magical and the mundane in this?
Mundane is the usual things that we have, the everyday things that we have. There is no
I
innovation.
get the mundane ka definition.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying in
yeah.
this example, it's not clear that he was looking at the mundane. Anyway, we go on. Okay, Smriti. Smriti, is she unmuted? Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Smriti. Yes.
Yeah. So one of the examples that I can think of is there is a course which is taught in IITs about design in creativity, in which one of the assignments that my professor gave was about making a typography without using any pens. So people were coming up with different kind of ideas, like some people were making typography with the help of the food which they are eating in the mess. So it's a very routine thing that they used to do, but now you have to look for different ways of looking creative typography in those mundane things that you do.
Okay.
So, yeah.
The example that you gave is a very personal anecdote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you that if I have a very personal example, how will I be able to incorporate that?
You won't. You shouldn't.
Okay.
Do something, incorporate something which is universal. Okay. Let me, Shakuntala, unmute yourself.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
Something which popped up in my mind when you said we need to quote examples. Think of a mother. A mother packs food for her kids every day, and that's a very routine and mundane thing for her. But just because she has to make it interesting for her kid, she makes new things. She names it in different ways. She creates from the same dish, she keeps different names. So even in mundane things, out of if there is a connection or you can say love, attraction, or interest in that, then in this case, it's an attachment case. If that is there, then it creates a need for being creative and being inspirational.
That's a very interesting point, and it's a very original example that I heard. It's not an introduction worthy point, but it's a very nice example for one of the body paragraphs. Okay, good. I mean, that's good stuff. Let's first. Okay, so Smita, I'm just being random here. So very quickly, what's the example which comes to you?
Sir, I want to give example of Uber. Uber, sir, mundane life में मतलब mundane ये daily होता था कि कोई ना अपने लिए टैक्सी ले रहा है या कुछ कर रहा है, but कोई उस everyday life से उन्होंने ये देखा कि अच्छा मैं एक ऐप बनाऊं जहाँ पे लोग टैक्सी को बुला सकते हैं सफिशिएंट, मतलब एक्सपीरियंस हो
Yes,
सकता है।
that's a great idea. And in that manner, you are in a way defining mundane in a much larger light. Mundane is something the way we are used to see the world. Mundane
Yes.
doesn't have to be boring, by the way. Most of us think mundane is boring, like daily activities and all that. Mundane could be any way the things are done. Mundane is a status quo. Okay, and if you can see something interesting as a pattern, which can disrupt the status quo, for that you need creativity, right? So all
Yes.
these things come together. Great point. Sakshi?
Yes, sir. Sir, I see magical in the mundane as something very ordinary, but we are looking at very extraordinary things coming from ordinary things, like discovery of gravity just from a simple apple, and changing of seasons, like flowers and waterfalls. All of these things are something very simple, which we are very used to, like changing of seasons. But when
So
we look
what's the
at the things,
creativity in changing for season? उसमें क्या inspiration आ गई?
so changing of seasons are like something which leads to a lot of changes in ourselves, like
I
from
get
summer
it.
to winter when we are
Sakshi,
shifting.
Sakshi, एक minute. Question पढ़ो. Inspiration for creativity springs from the effort to look for the magical in the mundane.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है? So if you're able to look for something magical in the mundane, if that is the effort you're able to put, that is when you can start on the creative journey. ठीक है? यहाँ जाना है. हमें define नहीं करना कि question क्या है.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है? तो season वाला point fit नहीं बैठता. ठीक है?
Okay,
Isha.
sir.
Okay, I'm just fine. I'll mute you and let everyone speak. Mostly it's good to see. Okay, Soumya, go ahead. And put your cameras on, guys.
Yeah. So, sir, I would like to quote poet here. For example, very naive things we see daily, like a flowing river, a falling leaf, mundane things. But a poet extracts out the essence out of it, start connecting it with the world. But I'm also a poet. So when we look at very, generic things we do daily, and we try to connect it with the world, we try to extract its essence, and we really create out something very good out of it.
Give
So
me an
we can,
example, Soumya. So I get what you're doing, and this is something you won't be able to write on the exam. Give me an example, maybe an example of a poet or someone who, in his poetic mood, figured something from the mundane, and that created an impact.
so
Or
for
what?
example, William Shakespeare, he is very popular for writing his poetries on like nature. So one of his poetry I can remember from my childhood, which is Daffodil, Daffodil. So he was like, I'm not able to,
And what
extract
about
out.
Daffodil?
Sorry, sir.
What about Daffodil?
Yeah, that's a poetry William Shakespeare
I
wrote.
know,
So
but
I'm
what
not.
is what's unique about Daffodil? What is?
Yeah, I'm saying that I'm not able to extract out the exact meaning he was trying to find out. But I just wanted to give an anecdote that a poetry, how find out the magical in the mundane.
Daffodil, if I might be wrong, मैं इतना poetry में हाथ सदा नहीं हुआ है, but daffodil are the most common flowers, which you find in that countryside. ठीक है? And everyone kind of basically ignores them. They just come by and they pass through. ठीक है? So उससे inspiration लेके शेक्सपियर ने वो लिखा था. If my memory serves me right.
Maybe I'm able to recall. Maybe you're right. I think I'm able to recall. This is right.
Yeah, but let me just. Yeah.
I'll try to
What
come up with better
Cool.
examples.
What I want to say is that, you guys understand funda kya hai. Okay, all of you got it. Now, when you get the thing, the next level to unlock is that do you have interesting anecdotes, and anecdotes not personal, anecdotes which have a universal appeal, okay, which explain that funda in very crisp, maybe one page. That's the thing. That is what will make for a very 5-star introduction. Okay. I'll just pick who has not spoken. Pratishtha Sahu.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Sir, first of all, I'm sorry that I can't on my camera because light got cut in my home.
Okay.
So, sir, let's start. So I can give the example of Newton when he was sitting under the
Someone
tree.
already gave the example of apple falling. Do we
Okay,
have
sir,
another one?
I didn't see, sir, but this actually came in my mind. I didn't see that
That's good.
example.
That's good. Awesome. We'll just pick up new. Anyone has an interesting example? सेल्फ सेलेक्ट कर लो भैया, किसी के पास अच्छा है तो। ओके यश, एंड प्लीज पुट योर वीडियोज ऑन। मैं हाथ खड़ा देखूंगा तो मैं अनम्यूट करूंगा, ये जूम वाला हाथ तो अब वो जा रहा है। हाँ यश, गो अहेड, एंड आई कांट हियर यू।
Now?
या
Okay. So I was going to say it was the anecdote that I want to give is it was back in 2007 where everyone was roaming with this cool looking quadri keypad wala phones. And
your voice is not audible because you're off your air gear. ट्राई करते हैं, वरना आप चैट पे लिखना, आई रीड दैट, ठीक है? शुभम।
Yeah, so the example that I can give is there is a book which is I Wanted to See by Bogle Dahl. Now, Bogle Dahl was a visually impaired woman, and the only chore that she could perform throughout her day was washing utensils. And she has described that entire chore in the form of this book. And so the magical, inspirational thing here is that the only new experience that she could get by doing this chore was to feel what was there in that particular utensil, because she used to work like that to earn her daily living. So every day when she used to do the chore for others, like in a home, she used to judge based on whatever texture she could feel as to what could have been made if there was a festival, if there were more people or something like that.
Okay. I like it, but it's not very impactful. Okay. आप लिख नहीं पाओगे इसको।
Yeah.
Bhavni, do you want to go?
Yes, sir. So looking at the statement, the first thing that comes in my mind is, if you look at kids, children, so when you are like 6 years or till the age of 10, so your mind is bustling with so much energy that even in the daily mundane tasks, a child is able to see creativity. Like even when I was young, so with my brother, I used to lay down in my garden and daily we used to look at the sky, and all the clouds used to just move, but still we were able to figure out various figures in the clouds. So in my head it goes like, and also magic in my head denotes happiness or fun. So inspiration for creativity springs from the effort to look for magical in the mundane. So kids have that ability to look for creativity even when they are doing the same thing continuously throughout the day.
Okay.
So
Okay, got it. Again, like this is, please do not share your personal anecdotes on the essay paper, because you'll take a lot of time for it to arrive at a point that you want to make, and वो इतना impactful नहीं होगा, ठीक है? Kriti, do you want to go? I'll come to everyone, most of you guys, okay? But just make a very quick point. Yeah.
Good evening, sir. Sir, I just want to add a physicist, which I know. Sir, there was a physicist called, this physicist named as Richard Feynman. So he was known as a great teacher and a great physicist. Even Bill Gates made a video about him, the teacher I never had. So
I
he
know
used
Feynman.
his,
What's the point?
yes, sir.
Ah.
So he used these different type of things to for his students, so to make it very creative and interesting.
But so what? I know Feynman. Feynman के बहुत examples हैं which we can quote here. Okay,
Yes,
let
sir,
me try to narrow for everyone. I'll mute you now. जब भी ऐसा सवाल मिलता है तो okay, I am assuming that you understood that, right? Basic, whatever is going around us, if we look at intently, if we observe intently, we'll find out possibilities. ठीक है? इसका क्वेश्चन का फ्लिप क्या है कि you just keep looking for most noisy things in life, the most flashy things in life, the fads of our times, and you think that is the reality, yeah, that is the shift. They're not, right? I mean, बेकार एग्जांपल है, but it makes sense. आप रील्स और शॉर्ट्स देखते रहोगे दिन भर में, you're engaging in the fads of the 2020 plus era, post COVID, you're going to create nothing. There is no effort. You're a passive consumer. But if you look for a problem recurringly, something might strike. ठीक है? अभी ये इसका premise है. Now, as an introduction, you have to give me an anecdote where someone has done this, cracked something big, because they were at it, patiently, meticulously looking at the mundane thing and at it. And I'll give you an example. Wait, okay, is this, ये दिख रहा है क्या? I was reading this book. इसको Google करना. And I would recommend, if you can get a copy of this, Breaking Through by Catalin Carico. Again, it's a good book to read. I mean, it's one of my, now I recommend this to everyone. I'll tell you the this person. She's a scientist who was behind the. She spent 3 decades working on the mRNA, messenger RNA, and she was instrumental in making the COVID vaccines. Her research was very, very instrumental in getting the COVID vaccines out. She spent 30 years in science. She's daughter of a Hungarian butcher who came out from that country deeply seated in communism. USI, science की student थी, faced all kind of patriarchy, egos in scientific community which we are not privy to, and we might assume that science is the most egalitarian theme and virtue that's out there. She's faced everything. She had a very small laboratory. कितनी बार deport होते होते बची है, करती रही काम day in day out, and फिर जाके इसने crack किया ये. I mean, इसका I would request go to Amazon. Even if you're not buying the book, just read on the comments. Reviews पढ़ना इसके. People have cried. There are people who've been buying stuff from Amazon for 10 years now, and this is their first comment. I mean, the review is probably their first comment. Gates and Obama and who all? Other Nobel Prize laureates, they have written reviews on this book. This book is published by a very lesser known publication, Cowan publication. No Penguin, no Harper, nothing. आप किताब पढ़ोगे ना, आप दहल जाओगे, and I'll just tell you one line before I go back. She writes a prologue where she's telling a scene about how her labs look like. And में वो बोलती है, I'm telling you all this because understanding my story, understanding me requires that you first understand something else. That what may to some look like stillness, that quiet woman at her bench, those floating pool toys, is sometimes the opposite. Sometimes a complex and satisfying life, or the complexity of life itself, can look to others like nothing at all. You'll have goosebumps if you even read like parts of it. But so this lady, I mean, if you were to give this anecdote and this example, that would create for a 5-star introduction, because this is a struggle for 30 years, finally coming up with the vaccine. ठीक है, अब किसी के पास इस लेवल के इंट्रोडक्शंस हैं तो हाथ खड़े करो and put your video on. Okay, Krish, I'll go with you.
Sir, the story of J.K. Rowling, like how initially she tried publishing her book, but no one was interested, and later how it became a hit.
Yes, this is not about persistence, by the way. Not only about persistence. Magic in the mundane. Do you understand? क्या है
And
mundane?
sorry, sir.
The question is about magic in the mundane. The
Sir, if
question is not about persistence. That is one of the virtues that you need to have to make sure that you're looking at magic in the mundane.
sir, a general life example can be for chef in a kitchen who is using ordinary ingredients
General
like.
example नहीं देना, ठीक है क्रिश? कभी
Okay,
भी
sir.
बिल्कुल नंबर नहीं मिलते. Okay, Aman.
So there is example of the person who discovered the circadian rhythm. So he was just sitting randomly in his garden where some honeybees were hovering around him. So he just went on to pursue this thing, that why these honeybees are coming over there around the same particular time, which led to the discovery of the circadian rhythm in all, like most of the animals, which is about the biological clock. And
That's
he
beautiful.
probably won
That's
Nobel as
beautiful.
well.
That's beautiful. That's a good example. Okay, so a hint to everyone. Look out for examples which are difficult or to understand from an untrained eye, or which take patience to even look at. Passing cars देख रहे हो या comet देख रहे हो, कुछ नहीं. मतलब some activity in the sky देख रहे हो. Something which requires deliberate focus. वो किसी और mostly तुम्हें scientific community में इसके examples मिल जाएंगे. ठीक है, that's a good thing. ठीक है, किसी के पास last example है कोई बहुत ही फाड़ू सा? Okay, Ritik.
Sir, discovery of ocean currents by sinking of duck toys.
बताओ, मुझे भी नहीं पता क्या है ये.
Sir, ocean currents were discovered accidentally when a ship sunk, and the ocean and the toys, like, it contains floating toys that were dispersed all around the world by the ocean currents.
Wow, that's interesting. I'm sure थोड़ा तो मजा सबको आ रहा होगा, right? मतलब at least this part of the essay writing is fun. You'll get to know बाकी लोग कितना पढ़े हैं, क्या पढ़े हैं. ऐसे लिखना एक अलग जिहाद है वो, बट ये मजेदार है. और किसी के पास इंटरेस्टिंग एग्जांपल? अश्विनी नहीं, तुम बहुत बोल चुके हो. कोई और आए, तुम लिख दो चैट पे. Anyone else who wants to go up, and please put your videos on. Hands up से कुछ नहीं होगा. Now there are enough of you. You should. अंजन, okay, कहाँ है? बताओ. अनम्यूट कर लो फिर बोलो.
मैं audible, sir?
Yeah,
Hello?
yeah.
Sir, I think social thinkers make mundane things, bring mundane things into topic of discussion. Let's say, for example, thinkers like Herbert Spencer. Generally, we take social interactions granted. We don't focus on them because it's regular for us. Maybe we think just interacting with it, getting angry on someone is very common for us. But in a point of view of a social thinker, he thinks it in a sociological point of view. Let's say Herbert Spencer, who thought of it as an in an organismic view. So that we are now reading the theory of his. Let's say we take someone
Anjan,
else.
okay, I'll stop you there. Your point has to be clearly communicated in like the first 3 lines. आप जो कह रहे हो, I understand what you're trying to say, but it's not creating the impact. ठीक है, तो अभी verbal articulation तो चाहिए ही चाहिए. इसको रिटर्न करना फिर और मुश्किल हो जाता है. जो पॉइंट आप ऐसे ही नहीं बोल पा रहे हो, आप लिख तो पाओगे ही नहीं. ठीक है, but I get the point that you're saying. Medha, new face on the chat.
Yeah,
Go
good
ahead.
evening, sir. Sir, so give an example of Thomas Alva Edison, who we have read that he failed multiple times before he discovered the bulb. So before that, we can say that the life was mundane or ordinary in a sense that people were using candles or stuff like that to view the things per se. So
उससे क्या? थोड़ा सोचो. I'm not discouraging you to think out loud, but just सोचना. कार्तिक, unmute करो, बताओ.
Good evening, sir.
Good
Am I
evening.
audible, sir?
हाँ, बोलो.
Yes, sir. So the example that I have 2 examples. First is of sir, when in the Stone Age we just have do not have any specific tools. We just have a rock. Okay. So when it starts rolling, what we did was we start forming rock in more circular manner. So that's how the inventory of wheel came into being.
That's good point.
That's my
But-
first example.
That's a good point.
I have another example that is of Robert Hooke. What he did was he was looking on a piece of cork or what we can say a wood. It was a dry wood, and when he searched it under microscope, he found out that there are many small rooms inside it. He calls that is how the cell came into being, and now the discovery of cell, and now how the modernization has led to many things like genetically modified seeds, which we are.
Okay, got it. 2 चीजें अब ध्यान रखना, हाँ. For everyone, I mean, the feedback is for everyone. It's not for an individual. पहला, lot of points that you are saying might not be good for an introduction, but would be very good for your body. So अगर जो Stone Age वाला reference है कि whoever saw the rock rolling, if you were to attempt this essay question in a chronological manner, some kind of right from the start of the human civilization, people have progressed only when they're able to observe the mundane and figure out what's the next stretch that they can do. तो आप ये point ला सकते हो, and then आप history के अलग-अलग pointers पे जाके अलग-अलग innovation या invention को कर सकते हो. I mean, I'm giving away the answer, right? Inventions in our timeline, in the history, सारे यही हैं भैया. Everything is about mundane को देखो और magic दिखाओ. Nothing else. That's first point. Second point, you have to be very, very crisp. Okay, and not generic. So obviously everything that we do has a larger impact, right? Invention of cell or discovery of cell rather, and उससे आगे चल के ये भी हो रहा है, वो भी हो रहा है, and the world is all the more better. But that's generic. Okay, do not go generic. Go specific, and maybe the next line can be generic. Okay, making sense, everyone? Try to have this rigor in you right from the start, like right now. क्योंकि generic answer आप कभी भी लिख दोगे. Like I showed you the GS answers, right? If you remember the 2 answers. So Taj, I'll come to you next. The 2 answers which we saw. Beginner answer is generic. वो सब सही बातें कह रहा है. That vulnerable sections need a different kind of policies. They've been ignored. Falana, Dimkana, everything is right, but it's not specific. And an administrator needs to be specific. Okay, so Taj, you're the last for this bit. Then I'll go to next.
Sir, we can say about King Siddhartha's change from King Siddhartha to Lord Buddha by seeing the mundane life of people. He created a new branch of religion.
Yes, that's a damn good example. The 3 or 4 instances which he saw when he was just going away. Everyone, I mean, that's a damn good example, by the way. You understand? Science के ऊपर आता है spirituality या religions, which kind of see the world around us and are able to go to a path, pick up a path and go through it and then propound a truth, a deeper reality of life. Right? That's a great point. And if you
So
guys
can we start with this? Means,
yeah, we can start with this.
would this be
Yes.
good for introduction?
It's a very good point for introduction.
Thanks.
Right? I mean, ये कहानी सबको पता है ना? Look at the same thing, then Siddharth looks at it in a different way and infers them in a different way, and then goes back and asks the question and realizes that these questions are not something which people have answers to, and then goes on his own search. And I don't know how many years later you have got them both. Right? An incidental side effect of starting early in essay is that you will develop a good philosophical bent of mind, which will help you with not just a healthy state of mind, but also with your interviews and in general life. Okay, start early on the essays. Great. Okay, I'll go to the next. अब एक ये सवाल है, and we'll do now. I won't open up much. I hope you guys are not tired, right? I mean, we're already 1 hour 15 minutes into this. कितना तक रह सकते हो बताओ? How long do you want me to take the session? Okay, this is the question. What is the duality here? Come on, guys, on chat. What's the duality here? On the chat, type out the duality which we are trying to address in this session. And this essay topic. Come on. You want me to go back on the duality? Here's the duality. Yeah, correct. Reason and emotions. इतने भी तो आ जाओ. You should be able to categorize and classify things. ठीक है? This is the duality. अच्छा, एक और चीज. As you get more and more mature with your essay and your understanding of these questions, you will be able to realize that across the PYQs or even the questions that we give you as a part of your mocks, you will be able to realize the similarities in different questions. So questions which is not a part of this session, not under the purview of this session, can be level 1, level 2, level 3. Mathematics is the music of reason is a level 3 question. Okay, this is a level 1 question. तो आपको duality of logic and emotion में हर एक level के सवाल मिलेंगे. What will happen is that as you get mature, for a level 3 question, you will make a level 1 question one of a point. ये समझ में आ रहा है ना? Once you're able to understand what's happening around, you will figure that there's a level 3 question which is on the duality of emotions and reason. And you will remember a level 1 question like this, and you will use this as a statement. ठीक है? Once जिस भी दिन तुम लोग ये करने लग जाओगे ना, उस दिन तुम 150 के ऊपर हो. ठीक है? फिलहाल, like 2 other questions which are a part of our test series. One, which is similar to this. The heart has its reason, which reason knows nothing about. And the greatness of humanity is not in being human, but in being humane. ठीक है? If you're going to attempt this essay topic, आपको duality लानी ही पड़ेगी. You'll have to address that duality. Am I making sense? ठीक है? Now what we'll do is, Animesh attempted this essay. ठीक है? I've picked up snippets from his attempt, and I'm going to show you that. अभी ध्यान उसमें ये रखना है कि I'll tell you about the introduction types. अभी introduction पे we already spoken about in the last 15-20 minutes. So I'll show you the introduction. I'll show you the kind of examples and anecdotes that he has used, the kind of quotation he has used, which will give you a sense of the wide array of reading he had. Now his context is that he is a engineer from NIT Rourkela, and he was part of the publication committee for 3 years. So he used to write one essay, one write-up every day or every week, something like that. Okay, and he used to read a lot because of that. Okay, so he had that headspace already, which is the context. So सब चीजों का एक context होता है. Let's go now. The thing to note here is not just that this introduction has a well-known name, जिसका ये anecdote है. It also has an inherent clarity with contrast का tool used. Okay, which is something I want you to know in this session. So clarity in our life always comes with contrast. If I'm able to show you a beginner answer and a ranker answer, you will be able to understand एकदम से कि क्या difference है. And you will have much more appreciation for the ranker answer and the effort it takes to go there. Making sense? अगर मैं आपको सिर्फ एक ranker का answer दिखाऊंगा, you will appreciate it, but it won't move a needle in your heart. You'll not feel it. It won't shift anything inside you. अगर मैं आपको एक beginner answer दिखाऊंगा, very sincere beginner answer and a sincere ranker answer, it'll shift your head. you will start taking your answer writing seriously because you'll identify somewhere with the beginner answer. So clarity always comes with comparison. Comparison brings contrast. What Animesh did here is that from the Prince of Death to the Prince of Peace, is given some semblance of contrast from within, which is making sense with the theme. Aage chalke, he will define the theme. But introductions of these kinds are the highest kind of introductions or the best kind of introductions you can ever give. Yes, you can have an introduction जहाँ पे आप रॉबर्ट ओपनहाइमर के बारे में बातें करोगे, but there is no contrast that you can give, right? Can you? Can you give any contrast to Robert Oppenheimer? और किसी और की जिंदगी से contrast नहीं देना है. या तो event same होना चाहिए या बंदा same होना चाहिए. अशोका प्रिंस देखते हो. You can call upon the time when the same guy was called Chand Ashok and the same guy was then instrumental in establishing Buddhism because of that war. But you get the sense, right? These are difficult introductions to ACE, but once you are there, there's no coming back. Okay, we go to the next. Pado, just let it seep in and then let me know in the chat. Yes, Oscar Schindler is a good example. Taku Angli Mal is also a good example. We're done? Did you guys go through this? है ना? He's doing world building. ठीक है? तो उसने बोला कि दुनिया सब लोगों ने बसाई है. They were rankers and emperors. But there are few who have stood the test of time. Now he's going more. Now this is how widely he's read and he's able to assimilate that stuff. ठीक है? ये समझ में आया ना? What he's done here? He's taken an example of a thought leadership of past and then given you a small case study of how it's been done. This is where he's used his GS notes knowledge. I've picked up selections from the essay to give you a sense of what are the tools and the techniques at play. And the reason I'm giving you this is because you guys are starting early. You can benefit a lot. That this is the eye that you have to develop. Okay? Another technique is this, a thought leadership and a modern pop culture reference. I mean, it's not that much modern, but still a modern pop culture reference, wherein you kind of harmonize them together. It's a good thing to do. This is towards the end. Okay? This is like the conclusion paragraph. Okay? आपको Alfred Nobel दिख रहा है ना second last line में? So he's concluding with a callback to what he started with. Okay? All of us like loops of our life to be closed, right? We like closing the loops. कुछ start किया है तो उसको end करो. Right? And so if you close the conclusion with a callback to the introduction, that's a master stroke. इस साल के essays were low scoring because 80% essays were reflective. So even rank 1, I think, got somewhere around 110 plus. I think. I don't remember, but that's what he got. And I'll share these slides with you guys on the group. But this is where you try to understand the nuances with which you have to play. तो अभी से तुम्हें जो भी reading बनानी है, क्यों भी करना है ना, that you have to start parallelly. So your preparation for the essay program is independent of your prelims, it's independent of your GS, it's independent. Your high scores in essay will have nothing at all to do with anything else. And if you score damn good in essays, you might be able to offset some of your bad GS papers or maybe optional papers. Okay. Which comes, now we come to the last part of this thing. Okay. And this is the second last slide. I think last slide kiski hai? Last slide Yoda ki hai. Okay. So when we started this session, how many of you guys already have had some idea of essays? मतलब some ideas मतलब कौन कितने लोग हैं लिखते पढ़ते हैं या कुछ essays लिख रखे हैं पहले? Give me a yes or no. Yes मतलब you have ideas and no मतलब not so. Generally, this phenomena is called the Dunning-Kruger effect. Okay? And what we are going to do this year with the whole of the UAP program, including the essays, that we'll try to tell you what does it take to achieve a certain level of learning and then execution. Okay? When I would have started this webinar and I showed you some of those questions which came in the last 25 years or so, we get a sense of we can comment on almost everyone. Exceptions to हमेशा होते हैं, but most of them you could figure out. ये कह रहा है. That's the Mount Stupid, which we all at. I've been at those places a lot of times. I'll still be at those places in any new learning activity I take, but we start with that. We start on the peak of the Mount Stupid. We think they're easy to scale. We know it. We'll crack it. Okay. And that would be reflecting in some of the introductions, some of the examples that you guys were giving. Okay. I mean, guys, I'm not trying to point out anything, nothing. This is just a very candid internal webinar. So I'm just telling you, this is how it happens. Okay. So therefore, I'm not even taking anyone's name. जितने भी लोग अभी बच गए ना कितने 169 and the rest have dropped off. Okay. We start with that Mount Stupid, wherein it makes sense to us. So हमको लगता है कि यार we can conquer this. अभी तो understanding ही हुई है by the way. And then the moment you start writing, the moment you will actually start writing the anecdotes which you were calling out, right? Some of the anecdotes were very large, long, descriptive. Some of those anecdotes were, you were getting lost towards the end. The moment you start on that thing, you'll realize that, it's more difficult than you assume. And that, then तब आता है वो depression का curve कि यार नहीं हो रहा. And it stays for a while. It persists because now you are knowing what you don't know. Now you're coming to terms with the things that you think you know, but you clearly don't know. Okay. That's the part where, I mean, it's good to keep in touch with your mentors. कि boss बुरी लग रही है, हमें तो लगा था पहले अटेम्प्ट में क्लियर कर देंगे, बट लग नहीं रहा, लग रहा है लंबा गेम लगेगा. ठीक है. Stay put with that. 90% of the people quit at this stage. They will quit. They'll quit at even the idea of someone criticizing them. Yeah, तेरे को तो पता ही नहीं है. They'll not speak. Most of you guys don't have your videos on. ठीक है, कुछ के यहाँ बिजली नहीं है, but that's aside. Most of you guys are नहीं हो, पीछे छुपे हो. And मेरा कुछ नहीं जाता है भाई. I'm not marketing anything to you. You're already a part of UAP. Right? So most of you will not speak, you'll not air, you'll not write, because obviously तुम कुछ खराब लिखोगे, which is fine यार. अनिमेश की कॉपी जो पहले हफ्ते की थी वो इतनी बेकार थी, उसने सवाल भी पूरा नहीं किया था. This is when he was, a publications head. I mean, he was heading that publication division in his college. He was working on the AI forefront. But I cannot convince more of you to, leave that thing. Abhi kya hoga? Maybe some of you will turn the tide here. Okay. If you do, you'll come start climbing towards the slope of enlightenment, which is what? Abhi to jo tumhe mila hai, wo understanding of the essay mila hai. Understanding is just 30% of cracking the essay practically for the UPSC. Okay, you guys have to actually score the numbers there. The rest 70% is actually cracking it. And I so much want to show you the copies of Smash 2024 students जो अभी लिख रहे हैं, of those who are repeat rankers, कि how much off they are from actually nailing the essays. It's tough. You'll realize that slope of improvement is, it's quite gradual. At enlightenment. Once you are there, तब you'll get to a stage when you realize कि ये कर सकता हूँ मैं, but it's not that easy. I mean, if you were still to explain this to someone that, what's the whole pathway, how does the journey look like, you will not say it's easy or yaar यही सब करना है. नहीं, you'll say it's tough, it's complex, but doable. You have to keep up at it. That's the learning curve. So आज बहुत सारे लोग Mount Stupid से नीचे फिसले होंगे. Especially वो लोग जिन्होंने who showed the courage to actually come out and speak. And I know you guys, right? But a lot among you didn't even speak. And that's fine. Find that courage in subsequent sessions. Find that courage with your mentor. Find that courage when you write Samachar Manthan ke answers. Okay? And with that courage, keep writing. This is the only gyan of the session, by the way. I hate giving gyans which I cannot back by example. So that is the reason why I kept this slide at the last. You have to go through the whole grind. UPSC is not a rocket science exam. It's not like JEE or NEET. How many of you guys from IIT or NIT here? Taj, which IIT? I am an IIT graduate from 2009 batch. I did electronics from IIT Guwahati. Then I worked in consulting and analytics for a good while before I came to this space. But I'm telling you, engineering का एक ही फायदा होगा यहाँ पे कि तुम्हें थोड़ी objectivity विरासत में मिलती है. कहीं से भी engineering की हो for that matter. So you'll be able to actually objectify and classify things into clusters. Okay? But what you won't have unless you've practiced hard enough is the beauty of abstract exploration. That's the reason why I wanted to start on the essays, at least the essay thinking right from the start. Okay? This is the end of the webinar, by the way. But in the subsequent session, then I'll try to have one every month. What we'll do is We'll pick up aspects of these essay writing. We'll pick up introductions. We'll nail them. We'll pick up definition paragraphs. We'll nail them. Then we'll pick up body paragraphs. We'll nail them. And then conclusions. We'll nail them. Then I'll give you a sense of at least good amount of reflections which are good for introduction. Anecdotes which are good for introduction, and reflections which are good for conclusions, which have a callback option. Callback का मतलब समझ में आता है ना? Like he started from Alfred Nobel, he ended at the Alfred Nobel. ठीक है? उसका conclusion वो पूरा paragraph था, by the way, not just the one line. But you'll have to gradually come to it. There's another important document that we have, जो अभी मैं share नहीं कर रहा because we're already 1.5 hours into this. But we'll take it up in the next session. That would be about 7 non-negotiables of the essay writing. Okay. And then we'll gradually build it up. But it's good that you guys attended today's session. Okay, now if you have any questions, feel free to drop them on the chat. I'll see if there are any relevant ones and I'll address them. IITB dropout we have. Bhaiya kaun? Ashish Kumar? Where are you? Put your hands up. Hi Ashish. You're a dropout from IIT Bombay. What were you doing there?
Computer Science Engineering M.Tech sir.
और B.Tech कहाँ से किया?
Delhi University sir.
अच्छा चलो, I thought B.Tech ही drop out कर दिया है. Okay. Interesting. There is no schedule here. We'll have a class maybe next month. Whoever is feeling nervous, that's okay. That was the aim of the session. Life is not never. I'm not going to make life easy for you and give you any false promise, bhai. How to develop the skill for essay writing? Just by writing, yes, and also by reading good stuff. I think there's also one PDF which would have been shared with you, 50 anecdotes and reflections. Group में share की होगी. अगर नहीं share की होगी तो I'll ask the team to share that. We made that for Smash 24, but I think you should just read it in your free time. उसका कुछ लेना देना नहीं है तुम्हारी GS preparation से. Can we write in reverse manner, like everybody is giving the answer where the person achieved or created something or just creatively can be switching? Yeah, you can. I don't get quite what you're saying, but what's the process? So everyone who's trying to say कि कैसे begin करना है, how to begin, how to think like this, what books to study, etc., etc. Okay, cool. How do you begin? So I was asking this question from one of our student called Zendan. He's an IPS, and I think last to last year Aditya के batch में था, and he got 210 in his interviews. That's the highest, I think, in his batch. And I asked him कि what's that one thing that I was asking him a clickbait question, क्या किया है? What should students do? And he frankly had no answer. Like he had none of those clickbaity answers I would have loved to, cull out of him. So he said that when he was not when he was a kid, but he has a sister, elder sister, who's a psychologist, or psychotherapist, some degree in psychology. And they both talk and they try to have multiple perspectives. They imagine multiple perspectives of people, right? In that manner, they are trying to predict how you are thinking and what should my answer be. See, अगर आप interview में भी जा रहे हो, it's a subjective panel यार, कुछ भी कह लो, at the end of the day, they're humans. You should be able to read the room. Once you read the room properly, then you'll be able to answer according to that room. Otherwise, you'll answer in some different universe and they are in a different universe and your answer won't match. So that thing that he developed was over time. Now, since you guys are going to attempt 2025, I would suggest that few things you can do. One, when you're going through the Samachar Manthan magazine, and this is something which we're starting from this week on or next week tak, all the interesting case studies which come in news, जिसमें और mains पे सवाल नहीं आ सकता, those are just good case studies which you can use in essay paper. They should be in one place so that you can do that thing. कोई thought leadership का quote and a recent case study where that kind of thing was done. That would be a good thing. तो लिख लेना इसको. And I'm also writing it for my team. Thought leadership quote plus a case study. Very specific. जितना तुम specific बातें करोगे ना, उतना you'll gain a lot of brownie points. This is in life also in general. I mean, if you guys, you must have dated people, of course. So usually it's a generic thing that I'm saying, but usually people like, at least girls like guys to be more detail oriented. In the sense, if they know and they know to a hilt, it talks about that, you have some grasp over reality, gives some kind of stability to the system. It can't be a universal fact, but more often than not, this is seen. People generally like people who are detail oriented. You guys like Apple iPhone and Apple products. Why? Because उन्होंने खून पिया है अपने एम्प्लॉयज का वो डिटेल अचीव करने के लिए, इसलिए। ठीक है, सो यू विल नॉट पे गुड बक्स फॉर MI फोन, वो भी वहीं जा रहे हैं बाय द वे, राइट? सो डिटेल इज द की, द डेविल इज इन द डिटेल, राइट? सो डिटेल ओरिएंटेड रहना, जो भी बात कहनी है टू द पॉइंट कहना। इज फ्लाई लैंग्वेज नेसेसरी इन ऐसे? नो, व्हाट्स मोर इंपॉर्टेंट इज दैट यू कम टू द पॉइंट एकदम से। दिस क्वेश्चन इज सिमिलर टू द क्वेश्चन कि आर डायग्राम्स नेसेसरी इन GS मेंस? वो बन जाते हैं अपने आप डायग्राम्स GS मेंस में। व्हेन यू हैव इनफाइनाइट स्टफ टू से, you can't be writing linearly, then you make a diagram, आप circle बनाते हो, 4-5 spokes निकालोगे and you'll put up your points. So your flowery language will come automatically if you've gone through the grind. Don't go for a flowery language, because if you remember, where is that? This is flowery language. It's a beginner's answer. It's very vacuous. Vacuous का मतलब पता है ना? It's saying a lot. You're using a lot of words to say something simple. Simple, like making a very simple point, but using a lot of words. बहुत vacuous, मतलब बहुत ही खाली है। मतलब लेस के चिप्स का बैग, वो 10 रुपए के चिप्स के बैग में 10 ग्राम चिप्स हैं, बाकी हवा है। Our argument should not be like that. Okay, that's an analogy. I fear about English, not from English medium. Okay, that's point one. Second, नहीं न्यूज़पेपर मत पढ़ो यार, you're part of समाचार मंथन, we doing enough stuff on that. Trust me. मतलब बहुत ग्राइंड इज गोइंग इन समाचार मंथन। थोड़ा बहुत तुम्हें कभी कभी कुछ सेशंस ऊपर नीचे लग सकते हैं, बट दैट्स फाइन। अमृत नहीं मिलने वाला कहीं भी। स्टे पुट विद दैट। ओके, सेकंड थिंग, a lot of you people out here do not have command in the language, and I do not mean flowery language or difficult words, just basic command। ठीक है, उसके लिए तो लिखते रहो यार। वो कमांड ओवर लैंग्वेज तुम्हें बनानी ही पड़ेगी। I mean, even if you get to qualify a rank, you have to go in a district, you have to have that command over both local and English language, like both languages. Do not assume that because you're not able to speak English, आपकी local language आप बहुत ढंग से बोल लोगे। Command over language has nothing to do with your vocabulary. It has only to do with the clarity of thought. ठीक है? Clarity of thought brings some hierarchy in your points. When you write essays, you achieve that clarity of thought. I am honestly telling you, it's no joke to write an essay. It's no joke. आप लिख के देखना. Even the people out here who kind of were courageous enough to speak up, you were not able to convey the point that you were trying to convey, which inspired you, right? So there is something which inspired you. Now you have to tell me what inspired you. And if you're not able to convey that quickly, that means वो फंस रहा है। अगर वो यहाँ फंस रहा है तो वो लिखने में 100% फंसेगा। ठीक है? That is something you need to work upon. How to start essay prep as a beginner. How to get awesome examples. We'll give you the awesome examples. Sociology बहुत help करता है, yes. Okay, we'll give you the awesome examples. Like I said, we'll share the PDF which has close to 50 anecdotes and reflections on them. And then we're making another document wherein we're picking up the best rankers copy and the kind of examples they've used and giving you related examples, right? So sort of the rankers who are well read will have a lot of पहले से ही उनका बना हुआ आ रहा है वो headspace. They have a good command on mythology. अगर आप mythology के non-cliche example लाके रख देते हो ना, I mean specifically in Indian context, you will get a lot of marks. Because if I can see the rigor and the depth that you have about Indian mythologies, Indian values, Indian ethos, it'll go a long way. ठीक है? I'll suggest books and all later. ठीक है? अभी दिमाग में आ नहीं रहा and I don't want to give you. I mean for the anecdotes, Robert Greene करके एक author है. Does anyone know here Robert Greene? You people definitely Art of Seduction पता है लोगों को, okay? You people definitely would have heard about Ryan Holiday, right? अब तो सुन ही लिया होगा उसका. He's this stoic philosopher author. Ryan Holiday के गुरु थे, हैं मतलब Robert Greene. So he's written like whatever 48 laws of power, 48 laws of human nature, etc., etc. And you can find those copies at LibGen. LibGen पता है क्या है? किसी को नहीं पता तो बता दो. So LibGen is like a boon for people who do not want to spend money on books, and it has all the books of the world, most books of the world. Libgen.is, note कर लो ये. So you can get any book, most books, even the recent ones, like अभी पिछले महीने जो रिलीज हुई होगी. ठीक है, you can get that book from there. Cool है. तो इसमें रॉबर्ट ग्रीन की बुक्स पढ़ना very sparingly, देखना उसमें से कुछ anecdotes मिलते, but always keep them at one place. And once you have the PYQs of essays, whatever you think is making sense to one of the introduction, या जहां भी तुम्हें लग रहा है उसमें duality या paradox है, उस example में उस anecdote को note कर लेना, ठीक है? That way your originality will come and shine, ठीक है? Rest on the content part we'll take care. Cool, awesome guys. Thank you for coming tonight. We'll also try to have sessions for ethics like this, and some more centralized session for the UAP students, right? So one is your one-on-ones with mentors and weekly planning, etc. will keep going on. But we'll try to have such sessions every month, like maybe once every 2 weeks or so, some longer sessions, wherein we can all connect across the mentors, all of us come together, and we can exchange. A lot of good stuff came about from this session from you guys. I'm sure you would have noted it down. वो सब मैं नहीं लिख सकता था, but I'll share this PDF also with you guys. Okay. I hope you liked the session. If there's anything else you would want me to take, or anything that you would want to be taken in the essay part, abhi likh ke batao so that we can work on them. And any feedback from the session, if it was fast or slow, anything at all. Okay, and I mean anything related to learning also, right? So don't limit yourself to just ethics and essays, or essays to say. That learning curve is the most important thing, but I wanted to pick it up right at the end. ठीक है, because after you've gone through the whole session, you would know कि क्या क्या feel हुआ होगा तुमको शुरू में, बाद में, बीच में, वो सारा FOMO की पूरी arc almost आपने traverse की होगी in some way or the other. And वो important है, not just in this theme, in this subject, हर subject में. Right? Cool, awesome. Thank you guys. It was lovely hosting you. I think this is the first session I'm taking for Smash, UAP and Foundation together. I've taken a session before for the UAP guys, especially on the Samachar Manthan thing. But I think this is the first combined session I've taken, and I enjoyed it. You guys have a good headspace. Keep developing this, and I'm according all the maturity I can accord to every student. And we'll keep working hard for this next 1 year so that most of you guys crack a double-digit rank and few of you crack single-digit one. Okay, take care guys. Bye.